All right, so here's the code in index.js. The main issue we have here is lack of separation of concerns. There's so many things happening here, and that's why we have a large number of require statements on top of this module. Below that, you can see we have some code for handling and login errors. After that, we've got something completely different, which is all about configuration. Then we move on to connecting to MongoDB, which is all about database. After that, we're setting up our routes and various middleware. These are different concerns. They should not be mixed together in one file or one module. In this module, we should only orchestrate these concerns. So the details of them should be moved to other modules. For example, the details of setting up routes or the details of connecting to the database, they should be separated. So in this lecture, we're going to focus on extracting our routes into a separate module. So let's create a new folder called startup. Here, I'm going to add a new file, routes.js. Now here we should export a function. So module.exports, we set this to a function. Now in this function, I'm going to add all the code for setting up our routes and other middleware. So back in index.js, I'm going to cut all this code and move it here. So look at the dependencies here. We have a dependency to app object, to express, all these routers like genres, customers, and so on. So back in index.js, on the top, on line 16, this is how we create the app object. We should have a single instance of that in the entire application. In other words, we don't want to load express and then call it to create an app object in our new module. So we want to send a reference to this app, to this new module. So this function should take app as an argument. Okay? Now, back in index.js, here we have the app object. We can load our new module, that is startup/routes. This returns a function, so we call it and pass the app object. That's it. That's all we have to do. Now let's clean up this module. So all these routers that we have imported here, like genres, customers, movies, and so on, all these should be moved to our new module because we have not referenced them anywhere else in this index module. So cut, back here, paste them on the top. We have added most of the dependencies. We also need express and the error middleware. So we can load the express on the top, express, require, express. Now, for the error middleware, I'm going to take it out of index.js because this is the only place we're referencing this middleware function. So back in index.js, let's scroll up. Here is our error middleware. Cut, back in routes.js, and let's add that here. Now, back in index.js, you can see the code in this module is already much shorter. We don't have so many require statements anymore. And also, the implementation is a little bit cleaner. Now, one last thing. Back to the routes module, we need to change the path to these routers because the routes folder is not inside the startup folder. So, anywhere we have period slash, I'm going to replace that with period slash. So here I've selected these two characters. In VS Code, we can enable multi-cursor editing. So I'm holding down Command and D on Mac. If you're using Windows, the shortcut is probably Control D. So see, I'm selecting multiple instances and then we can replace them all in one go. So period slash. Done. Now, as an exercise, I want you to go back to index.js and move all the database initialization code to a different module. You will see my solution in the next lecture.